Good morning, Nigerians, and welcome to the program Perspectives. Today is a special edition of the program, and for every reason that we all know, this should be a very special one for us. Nigeria turns 61 today, 61, and we've kept it on 1960 to 2021. We kept the journey going. There have been, hurdles to cross. There have been hiccups, and Nigerians have had their very difficult times, good times, difficult times, but again, we've kept it going. And here we are today, the 1st of October, 2021, making Nigeria 61 years of this journey. Now, the baton was handed over by the British colonial masters to us in 1960, and of course, we've had successive governments, in handling the affairs of Nigeria. Civilian to military, military to military, military to military, and back to civilian, and to civilian, and to civilian. But we've kept it going. The democratic process, too, really started 1999, and here we are with it. But it has not come with its, it has not come with its challenges. Challenges that, from all sides, we're saying that we can surmount those challenges if we all work, as one people. And the president's call this morning has been on unity. We can unite, the country from all the angles that we're coming from, that Nigeria can be a united country if we so desire. And so we'll be talking about Nigeria. We'll be talking about why, some of us or some people are just worried about this entity and worried about this marriage. The marriage, taken from the different divides of the country, it has come in with religious, challenges. It has come out with ethnicity. It has come out with economic challenges. It has also come out with, all the facets that you see that binds us as a people. Challenges have come out. But again, we're pushing still moving forward with Nigeria. And again, as we celebrate 61 years in the life of this nation, has it been a situation of dependence or independence? We'll be talking about all of that. I'm making a call here, a long-distance call to Steven Aluko Daniel. He's the Director of Civil Liberties Organization, Resource and Development Consultant at DAS Consult, a former human rights and foremost human rights and pro-democracy and gender environmental activist. Was also a delegate at the 2014 National Confab, a former president of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and former National Association of Nigerian Students leader. He's a journalist and a public administrator, and also an analyst. My guest this morning by phone, Steven Aluko Daniel. Good morning, and glad to have you on the program.
Good morning and happy Independence Day. Happy new beginnings to all of us. A brand new month and a new year for the country.
Yes. On my way to work this morning, I tried to look at the faces of Nigerians and see whether the mood of celebration is with us. But I can tell you that for some Nigerians, it's just business as usual. What is there to celebrate is what some people will be asking now. And again, disappointment about the management or running the affairs of this nation could also be seen in the faces of Nigerians. And again, some Nigerians have just come out with, just let them just do it. It's just about survival now for Nigerians. And so what are the interests of Nigerians in saying to it that this nation is run well? These are some of the things you see on the faces of Nigerians. And at this moment when we could be talking or asking the question that can we be happy people? Are we happy even as we go into 61 years of running the affairs of this nation? But, let's get to hear from you. It's a general overview now about Nigeria's dependence and independence. Your take here.
Well, like I said, happy new beginning. One thing about life is about hope, it's about trust, it's about confidence and self-discovery and ability of everyone to invent a positive will. And that's why I started on to that. Should we celebrate? let's look at it if we're supposed to celebrate. And I'll go spiritual this day before I go into other perspectives. If you check the book of Nahum, chapter 3, from verses 1 to 4, it clearly tells us the story of Nigeria. Nahum, chapter 3, verses 1 to 4. He said, woe to that bloody city. That means the city is bloody. And why is the city bloody? It were not to say that when a city is full of lies and deception, when it's full of robbery at all levels, and when even the prey, the victim themselves, are not ready to liberate themselves, God himself says, woe to that city. And he also says, in that city, what do you see? The voice of weeping, the voice of crying, the voice of wailing, the voice of rankling of will. What does it mean to have the rankling of will? Taking decision 2 steps back or forward and 10 or 100 steps backward. He said, what do you also see in that city that makes it a woe city or a cursed city? He said, you see the glittering of the sword. And what is it doing? Not doing good work, but slaying his own citizens. And when you go all through the mapping of the country, what you see is multitude of carcass, multitudes of cause, unending death of innocent citizens. And then he move forward. He say, what is the cause of this? He said, because the city are now well done, that the well-favored in the city can be termed as harlots, people that have unstable minds, unstable policy, unstable program, and people that practice witchcraft, that bewitch the city. And he said that this act of harlotry and witchcraft, a nation and a family is sold into slavery. If you look at this scripture very well, it tells you about the current situation. Security, lack of good access to potable water, lack of good access to health facility, underemployment or unemployment. Just think about wickedness and evil at all levels. And why we do it? Let's do it in comparative terms. There are many countries that have got independent the same year or almost in the Nigeria. But at incremental level, they are moving. You also look at another country, even country that came to Nigeria to come during Gowon era. Some of them have surpassed us. Look at Malaysia. They came to collect palm fruit here. Today, Nigeria is importing oil from that palm oil, red oil from that place. And you look at it. What do we see in the level of governance politically? Pure lies, pure deception. I'm happy you said coup and counter coup. Most of those counter coup and coups that we have, some of them is frauded with deception, empty promises, big promises. And then when we celebrate, we have democracy. What institution of democracy have we developed? As we talk today, we are still debating how to have a more credible election. And people are saying they cannot transmit results. So if you put all this together, you go to the economic line. Have we been able to diversify? Have we been able to have an economy that is producing? Have we been able to have an economy that will give a sense of belonging to people? These are the issues. So if you put it and go to our social life, our cultural life, our religious life, you also see a lot of deception. So when we are talking about Nigeria, we are talking about the whole sector of Nigeria. Whatever we are celebrating today, let's be sincere to ourselves. Could it have been better? Yes. Could it have been better? Yes. But what we are seeing today is that we are celebrating. Anybody that is celebrating, apart from giving glory to God and thanking God that we have not drawn ourselves aground, don't see anything that we celebrate. In 2015, it is pan-Nigerian vote for the current president and governors in many states. What have they been able to give us? And let me speak to the North. That the governors forum is saying they are laying claim to power. What have they been able to use the power to do? In terms of developmental index in this country, the most backward region is the North. Yet it's the North that have held power for a very longer time. What have they been able to do? The governors are saying they are not handing over power. Who told them it's their birthright? Nobody is a second-class citizen in this country. And I think the earlier we get this mentality, because the place I read, they say even the prey itself is not ready to deliver himself. If Nigeria will go better and get to the best, we must be ready to break this shackle of underdevelopment. We must be able to break this shackle of people prioritizing themselves instead of the people. Even the constitution of Nigeria is clear. He said the basis of governance will be the welfare of the people, the security and the welfare of the people. I'm happy this radio station is in Kaduna State. The news item we read not too long ago is that Kaduna wants to shut down telecommunication because of the insecurity. Is it not a disgrace to those in government in the north that we are having meeting in Ariwa and Kaduna South is being plundered, and you did not see even a space or fee or paragraph for it in whatever statement you are coming on board? We must not deceive ourselves. We have tell ourselves too much lie in this country, and all of us are involved. We have celebrated evil and turned evil to be light and turned light to be darkness. So we must rise up and begin to say that, look, everybody in Nigeria matter, wherever they reside, be it in the rural area, they matter. We must be able to secure Nigeria for us to celebrate. Anybody that is celebrating anything today in this country, from the presidency to the councillor, the person is dancing on the grave of innocent Nigeria that have been killed, innocent Nigeria that have been kidnapped, innocent Nigeria that have been robbed across all boards. And I think the first time we should tell ourselves is now that we are moving into a new year, so that all of us will repent and change our ways of life, from our family life to the political life to the economic life. So that at the end of the day, we'll be handing over a better generation to the coming generation.
All right, Steve, one thing that's going for Nigeria is that we cannot talk about Nigeria in isolation. And talking about isolation would mean talking about, a section or a set or a region or, a zone and all of that. Nigeria must be looked at, from a general perspective. And now that you reeled out some of the woes that we have with Nigeria, one of the good things, again, that's coming up, for this nation, or that's going down well with it, in spite of the so much predictions that have been said about how survival of Nigeria, in years, we've seen Nigeria as the people, will come together and still move on and march on. Now, what we're asking ourselves at this moment, where we're celebrating 61 years in the life of this nation, is that though tribe and tongue may differ in all of this, but this spirit of the Nigerian that together we can make it. Now, when you look at all of this, the problems that have come out. Now, I'm asking the question here that what role, successive governments, leadership, what role has it played even to take us out of this quagmire that we are, or even, digging the hole that we're, all falling in, leadership in all of this?
Regrettably, when we are talking about 61 years of misrule in Nigeria, we cannot just say it's limited to the current government. If other people have laid strong foundation for industrial takeoff, will not be where we are today. If other people that have ruled this country have laid foundation for diversification of our economy, will not be where we are today. Politically, they have also laid a very solid foundation. There are people that didn't have business in governance that found themselves in governance. So I must tell you, summary, that from 1960 to date, the closest we came to developing of a nation is when we have the first people, the Azikwe, the Tafawa Balewa, the Awolowo. They were more ideological, they were more welfareist than subsequent government. Other government we've had in this, they have not done anything before. In fact, they are part of the problem. They are part of the people that I call liars that have held us people. Let's look at it. The civil war that we fought, was it avoidable? Absolutely, it was avoidable. It was just the ego of Ujuku and the ego of Gowon that plunged this country into that civil war. If we have sat down as a nation and moved in the line of positive, we will have averted our. And I can tell you that the scar of the civil war is still what we are passing through till date. And that was why when we have the best option in Ekweme over Obasanjo. People out of sentiment follow Obasanjo and drag us to this point. And then you also move on. You come to the civilian republic. What have we had thus far? I'm happy I'm speaking to a radio station in Kaduna. When you read the letters that I call it letters, accidental civil servants, you understand that many of the so-called leaders that we celebrate as statesmen or stateswomen, the accidental leaders, they were never prepared. They were never recruited to lead the nation. So they created the problem for us. And when you read this book, written by Festus Iyayi, the man God, many of us only occupy office as well as nationalist people, as an army of plunderous relationships, army that came to rape us and the rest of it. So if you look at it, many of them have not done the necessary. Even when Gowon regime promised us indigenization policy, it's a national policy. Where did it take us? It took all the industry and solely did they themselves. And when other subsequent governments came and see privatization and the rest of it, I'm happy El-Rufai was in charge of the public bureau for privatization. Can he give proper account of it? They took the national wealth, the national resources, and gave it to their privileged few, and sold Nigerian industry and Nigerian national base and sold it out for so cheap. And then you come to the Green Revolution under Obasanjo. Other countries that have Green Revolution, have they not been feeding their population? The best we got out of Green Revolution was his Obasanjo farm, which he has not accounted for today. And then we come to 1977, the same thing under Obasanjo. We had enough resources and wasted it on Festa. We wasted it on Festa. Money that would have judiciously used for industrial takeoff and make sure that Ajaokuta is functional, so that people can be constructively engaged and so that people can take advantage of it. We wasted it in Festa. And then we come again, the current civilians, have they done anything different? Even when the current president and his APC promise that they are going to become part of it and guard against wastage, what have we seen all through? So what I'm saying in essence is that all this, some have moved a bit to the right perspective. But when they take 2 steps, other people come and revise it 100 steps backward. So we cannot say, and nobody can exonerate themselves from this over to this. Everybody that have ruled this country at one point or the other till date cannot exonerate themselves. In fact, if Nigerians were to seek for justice, many of the people parading themselves as head of state, as governor, as that, today they will not have mouth to talk in this country. Just look at the recent judgment that is gotten from the court. I wonder who gave that type of judgment. You say, orderly, you are given perpetual injunction. He should not be asked for his public office as the governor of Rivers State. And then you come recently, you gave us the use of candidate and said he should not be retried, making mess of administration of criminal justice. In any crime, wherever you serve, and there's any indelible mark on you, they call you back to clear yourself. Many of our former governors have done Senate to be their pensioner seat. Many of them have cases to answer in their different states and different local governments. So these are the people. The problem we have had by sense of summary is that we have conscripted the democratic space, the democratic space, the economic space of this country to a privileged few. They have misrepresented us. They have chosen to impoverish this country. In terms of resources, God has really blessed us. Talk of any resources, we have it in Nigeria. But when we have misfits in government houses, when we have misfits as appointees, when we have misfits as National Assembly member, State Assembly member, local government councillor and chairman, that is what has brought us here. So all of us are part of the problem, and I think we must ask them at one point or the other to give account.
All right, Steve Aluko,
let me just drop in. The Udoji award that Gowon gave us in this country, the committee that he set up not advise against you, and that is what we have seen in different governments. They set up committee, they bring recommendations, they don't even implement a paragraph of that recommendation. That's why we are being there.
All right, you mentioned something, and I will not allow that to go, until I come from the break. I want to, put it, nail it here before we go on that break. You talked about all of us. Now, I'm looking at all of us, Nigerians, are we, so gullible and this gullible that so much would happen to us and we cannot, speak out, and Nigerians cannot, raise their thumbs or raise their heads against, misrule, mismanagement and all of that? Why have Nigerians turned out to be so gullible and that they can be used, and dumped at any given time?
Like I said, from that book of Nahum chapter 3 verse 1 to 4, he said even the prey is not ready to bring this out. Even the book of Isaiah said that the day those that are under bondage are ready to break the bondage will be broken. The challenge we have in Nigeria is not that we don't have progressive forces. Even the independence we are celebrating today, it was the progressive element of the First Republic that fought for it, and some of them paid for it dearly. And till then, till now, a lot of progressive forces have also been fighting and been speaking. But unfortunately, majority of Nigerians are not progressive elements, and some of them have come to resign to faith of being used and done. And take for instance, when somebody sell himself for just 18 kobo, highest they give you during election is a rapper that will not last 2 months. Highest they give you 1,000 or 10,000, divided by 8 years or 4 years. You sold yourself, your generation for 18 kobo. It's not that Nigerians are not speaking, but the ones that have the opportunity, because they've considered the space to eliminate and exclude the progressive element. So most of the people who have had a leadership position and the reactionary element, the conformists that do not even believe in themselves. And that's why they travel to other countries. They cannot. But the followers must also share back from the blame. And that's why when they bring religion manipulation, I'm privileged to have schooled in ABU before my expulsion. But I read Walau's book and I read many of the Essential and Mahmoud's book. And what they are saying is that religion is not really a problem, it's the manipulation of religion. So Nigerians become gullible to manipulation of religion. Look at the National Assembly. You have the Muslim, you have the Christian here. Have you ever had them fight over allowance? In this country, we have Christian and Muslim that have ruled us as president or as governor. Have you ever had them not being paid their salary? It's only the poor that be justifying why they should not pay 30,000 living wage. Why they should not pay 18,000 living wage when it was 18,000. It is all that divide ourselves along ethnic and religious line. Like I said the other time, I don't know if it's on your platform. When they gathered in Kano for Buhari's son's marriage, how many poor people did you see there? Did you not see all of them across all party lines, across all elitist divisions? They came together. The article that contested against Buhari was the father of the day. So it's all that allowed them to divide us. They use us as thugs, they use us as criminal elements, and at the end of the day, they dump them. So we must realize that as we move towards 2023, we must not allow anybody to use us and dump us. Look, we are talking on the eve of celebrating 61-year anniversary. They killed a doctor in Anambra, a doctor that is husband to Dora Akuili that has helped us to fight the drug war and substance abuse in this country. In other countries, they don't waste their best. In 44 barracks there, is that not where they killed that young girl that was fighting Boko Haram? Look at it. What we are doing now, we are going to have a way of destroying our best and have a way of celebrating the misfit in the society. I can tell you that if we do the right thing, most of these people that are parading themselves as governor, as local government, as president, in the real sense of it, they are not supposed to rule, because some of them are part of the recycle element that have brought this country to its knees.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, Steve Aluko. All right. I have signals that I should go on a commercial break. I'll be back with you shortly. Just stay on the line, please. Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, a special edition. We're marking Nigeria at 61 and sharing thoughts with us on Nigeria at 61. My guest, long distance call, Steve Aluko Daniel, Director, Civil Liberties Organization. He's also a resource and development consultant at DAX Consult, a former human rights and pro-democracy and gender environmental activist. He was also at the 2014 in the CONFAB, the conference, remember Jonathan's time, former president, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, former National Association of Nigerian Students leader. He's a journalist, a public administrator, and an analyst. My guest this morning on Nigeria at 61, special edition of it at Perspectives. Steven Aluko, I'll take you back, and this is taking you back to my time. Many, many years ago, on a day like this, we'd be seen on the streets, waving to our leaders. And at the race course there, in Kaduna here, now Murtala Square, we'd all be there, with the green, white, green flag to wave, to our leaders. And happy people, you could say, at that time. But years have passed, and here we are. I don't see all of that, the interest in all of that. People, go there with their strong faces and hard faces, showing that they're forced to be there. Some of the students or pupils will say they were forced to be there. But that's Nigeria. Now we've talked about all the woes and leadership and what it has done to us. And again, people would say that let's stop talking about the arrangement that got us together as a people, that we're beyond that. 61 years should have, taken that away. The religions, the divisions, the regions, ethnicity, and where I come from, and of course, all of that should not be what we should be talking about now. And you railed out, the woes of this country and what leadership had done. We are 61 today, and I'm asking you, Steve Aluko Daniel, what are we to be looking at for? What are we to be demanding from our leaders? What is it that we can do, the largest black nation in the world, with its population, with the human resources and God-given wealth, to this nation? At 61, what must we be demanding for? And again, we know that elections will just be around the corner in 2023. Moving Nigeria forward for you, our demands, our requests, our calls, and aspirations here.
I think first and foremost, I'm very happy that you did give us the background information of what happened or transpired in 8 days. And it's 8 days because as of that time, there's a link between governance and leadership. Leaders are not just leaders that are first set of people. Either you like it or not, election that brought them on board as of that time are a better election than what we have today. But most of what we have as election today is capturing regimes where people capture people and impose leaders of people of their own choice that does not have any bearing with the aspiration of the people or the quest of the people for development and development. And from that time, leaders were not eliminated from the people, and because of that, people celebrate them. And people can, on benchmarks, see that, okay, this is what this party promised, this is what they are doing. Let's be more practical. So the fact is, when you talk about action group as of that time, it's free education. When you talk about European Second Republic, free education. You go to the north, when you hear NPC as of that time, you know what Ariwa is talking. When NPNC, you know they are going to build house. You go to GNPP in Borno State, where Nigerian People's Party, the same thing. You go to Kano and Kaduna, when Piaba and Highway, it's infrastructural development. And that's why you go to Kano today. The level of infrastructural development you are seeing that you can't see in any state. That time, the benchmark is performance, the benchmark is some level of credibility, the benchmark is some level of people program, and the rest of it. Of course, PRP have the Talakawa as its slogan, and that's why, despite all what NPC did, they were not able to overrun them out of Kano. But what we have now, we have leaders that, in the right sense of it, should not be termed as leaders. Rather, they should be termed as what? They should become as termites. Termites can destroy it, no matter how good that thing is. They give it to termites, will destroy it. So a great number of what we have to do because these leaders themselves, they are not accountable, they are not transparent, they are not open. They only go around during campaign and pretend they are doing campaign for 5 minutes. They don't go for political debate, and when they promise, they don't keep it. So immediately they are elected, either as National Assembly member or legislative leader, or executive governors, or executive recklessness, or executive impunity and lawlessness. They don't go to meet with people again. So that belief is there. So in those days, there was linkage of governance with people at different times, and because of that, people celebrate their life. If they try now, they will stone them. Take for instance, we have monitored the National Assembly for some time. Some of those National Assembly senators cannot even go to their place because they have made their place unsecure, ungovernable. Some of these governors cannot even. Have you not listened to the governor of Katsina State recently when he says some numbers of local government and in those people's control? Have you not heard the Sokoto? Have you not heard even in Kaduna? Kaduna that is the headquarters of the North. How come the Kaduna is not safe for some time now? These are the issue. If you are a people's governor, if you are a people's president, you will not need all these to protect you. It will be the people that will protect you and defend you. So because you have lost essence of governance, and because they have also run foul of the oath of office they do as Christian and Muslim, they use Quran and Bible to swear oath. They have run foul of those principles. And if you go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 29, it says, when the righteous will be people rejoice. If the people are rejoicing, the president will not hide himself. The governor will not hide himself. So these are the issues. This is to further indict them that they are not governing well. Look at Zulu in the North East. Is he not still going around despite the Boko Haram threat? Where governors, look at Makinde in your state. Is he not going around? Is Sanwo-Olu not going around? Look at the NSAS committee that is holding in all places. Where governance are about people. Have you not seen how they have responded? The same ones that claim that they are celebrating the past. Are they not the one now crying? So these are the issue. So we must begin to act as agenda. When people claim they are representing us as Northern Governors Forum, we must ask them, are you Northern Governors Forum or non-governance forum? These are the issue. When they say they are representing the Yoruba, we won't be. So we must have a recruitment process that will bring up the very best people that we can hold accountable, not people that are tyrants, not people that are undemocratic. We must be able to bring on board people that will say, this is what I promised, and within 100 days, this is what I'll do. Within 200 days, this is what I will. We must be able to do that. And beyond that, as Nigerians, we must also build institutions of governance so that we can also hold people and government accountable. There should be checks and balances. There should not be an absolute watertight separation of power. We should be able to check them there. We should be able to practice the record process where we have National Assembly, State Assembly, local government people representing on the legislature and not doing that. We should recall them. We should be able to impeach any executive officer, be it president or governor or chairman, that's not performing. Until we put the letter and the spirit of our constitution to test, we may not find it right. And that's why the book of Nahum that I quoted earlier on, those that know they are victims, they must be able to come with a pan-Nigerian program, agenda of development, of inclusion, to make sure that at the end of the day, everybody is included in the project of Nigeria and everybody is speaking the same language. And when we have deviants, either in the president or the governor, in the local government or in any party, we must be able to hold them accountable and so punish them. We should be able to name them and shame them out of office. That's the most important thing. Because as long as we make it a mutual element, we vote for them for 4 years, 8 years, and they will not. I'm still asking, when the president's son was did his marriage in Kano, have we even asked where he got those money he spent? Have we asked the question? So Nigerians must realize that we have a history, and a positive history, where we stand for what is right and what is good. We must invent that way. That was why people like Aminu Kano is just celebrated till today. That is why Awolowo is just celebrated till today. So we must go back to that culture where we identify leaders that are leaders indeed, that have the fear of God, the courage to do the right thing, and we line up with them and support them to the end. So that at the end of the day, we celebrate them with that. I'm speaking to a radio station in Kaduna. Can anybody fall Balari? Did anybody fall Balari with Musa till he died? Why is Balari Musa a good name in Kaduna State before he died? That's the issue. We have good people that we must allow to take over the leader, and that's why we must hold this government, especially the presidency, and we must hold him to make sure that he signs electronic transferring of results, transmission of results. We must hold him to that. So that at the end of the day, we have the capacity of having the sanctity of our vote to decide who we rule us and to decide how we want to also punish them before their tenure ends. It's very, very important.
Yeah, quickly, Steve, you talked about recruitment process. I want to, hold on that. Recruitment process. Now, how do you get that in the recruitment process where even the elite that we trust on, people from the ivory tower and from all walks of life who are elitists, so to say, some of them have been given opportunities to hold a position of leadership here and there, but again, they failed us. So this recruitment process, how do we begin to get that and put that into electoral process too?
I'll go spiritual. When Saul was the king of Israel, any place he find a good person, a skillful person, take the person on board. That was part of what took David up at the time. And when David also becomes the king, he also did the same thing. If those in leader and the process of leadership is open, accountable, and transparent, where criminal elements, 419 will not come from overseas and become governors and become others, it will solve a lot of problems. How do we do that? Simple. We must insist that the process of recruitment be open and transparent. Yes, you said some allies have compromised themselves, yes, but I can tell you, in every history, we have two classes of elites, the progressive one and the reactionary one. I'm happy I'm speaking to a radio station in Kaduna. When during the tenure of Balari Musa, when Banaus Man was the secretary to the state government of Kaduna State, he died. Did anybody fault him? No. I'm telling you that even within the allies, we have the progressive element. If we can identify them and support them, they may not have money to buy our votes, but they will have the conscience to do the right thing. If we are able to identify them and stand with them, believe me, they will have it right. And when people are also appointed, we should not just say this is our quota. We should hold them accountable. If I'm from the north, my governor is not performing, I should hold my governor accountable. I shouldn't wait for others to hold them accountable. Why they have the effrontery of gathering in Ariwa House and not doing the needful? Let me be more practical here. If you read through the resolution that the Governors Forum, the Northern Governors Forum gave us, they said they set up some committee and they could not consider the report of the committee. A serious-minded Northern Governors Forum will not only consider that committee report, but also make sure that they implement it. So, as if the North should hold their governors accountable, the South should hold their governors accountable, the East should hold their governors accountable. When we begin to do that, it will go along the table. And at different stages, let's hold our local government chairman accountable. If we do this, we have to. But about the recruitment process, any political party, any ruinous political party that does not allow credible election primaries in their district, we should punish them. And that is where we must get to. And that's why we must also create alternative platforms that will allow people with credible alternative ideas and programs to run this country. We've done it before, and we can still do it. It's part of our history. It's a rich history. Nigeria has rich political history of people that stand for what is right and they do it. And we can do the same thing. But the problem we started having in the Second Republic, where a Shagari that was not prepared to be president was trusted enough by Obasanjo regime because people like Awolowo said they are going to try the military regime for their ruinous state. And the circle continued. IBB came and gave us selective banning and unbanning. And in Kogi State, how will you unban a gubernatorial candidate on the eve of election and expect it? That's why you can see the fear of impunity in Kogi State. So let's go through all this process. We had it before. You cannot become an urban or an emir before when you don't have the best credentials. Who do we have as our urban and emir today? Some of them that have liquidated the civil service or have liquidated the military arm, they now use the traditional institution as part of their retirement benefits. We also, when we are talking about recruitment process, it's not just the political arm, the religious arm must be there, the cultural arm, the traditional arm must be there. Until we do what other countries are doing, getting their very best to represent them, to stand as executive, stand as justice, they are going nowhere. Because many of the people we have today, they are the part of the people that are the winners first of this country. And that's why we must hold people like Obasanjo accountable and hold people like Buhari accountable. Because they have ruled this country before. If they did mistakes back then, they are not supposed to repeat the same mistake. Take for instance, the current president said he will lead by the front. Even Katsina is not safe. Zamfara is not safe. We must hold people like Yerimo Bakura, the former governor of Zamfara, that said he is promoting and establishing Sharia law, and yet he could not give people good water to do abolition in Zamfara. Those are the issues. If we profile people as they are coming on board and we go for the very best and we do when Super Eagles is winning, or when Flying Eagles is winning, or when Eaglet is winning, or when the Falcon is winning, we'll get the very best. So as long as we begin to convert the process, we will go nowhere, we will destroy the next generation. And the time is coming that the NSAS will not just end in the end. They will start moving from state to state, identify criminal elements in the name of leadership in this country and deal with them squarely.
All right, Steve, we have to go to, the audience now, get, their feel, too, about Nigeria at 61. One good thing for us, the president this morning in his broadcast talked about unifying the people. Unity, a strong word, for us Nigerians to look at. That is unifying the people, no matter the ethnic groups, no matter the religion and regions. He talked about unifying the people. And so, coming to the audience now, having you as part of the conversation, Nigeria at 61, your thoughts here on 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. All right, begin to take your calls now on your thoughts about Nigeria at 61. Could be better, right? I'm sure that's what the first we'll be talking about. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Dave. My name is Musa Bala.
Yes, Musa.
Let me start by wishing Nigeria happy anniversary. Despite all challenges, we have reason to celebrate. And let me quickly give this correction. Nobody was killed in 44 in Kaduna that was fighting Boko Haram. And at the same time, the Kaduna State Governor never said some local government, excuse me, under...
Hello, Musa? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, okay. Let me quickly say that this the North is not the most backward region in Nigeria. Many Southerners in their millions come to the North, get educated, went back to the South, and became very important as staff. A backward region cannot get people educated. The North also is giving a lot of food to the South. And at the same time, many Nigerians from all over the country are wishing to come to the North, get settled, and live a happy life. So the North is not the most backward state. And when you go to the issue of, let me go to the Southern governors, that in this time came out with a statement that the power must go back to them. I don't know where they get that from. I don't know where they mean, what do they mean by must? This statement is not only insulting, but absolutely unacceptable, regrettable, and highly irresponsible from their own side.
Musa, these again are some of the issues that we're raising about unifying the country.
We are unifying the country.
Yes,
by unifying the country, we need to respect ourselves.
Nigeria is 61. We're talking about
yes,
way
we
forward.
Need to respect ourselves.
Moving on.
We will tell them that power is being negotiated, power is being looked for, not must. Even in 1999, power was not given to them under the word must. And on the transmission of results, we all accepted transmission of results, but what we are afraid of is how people will now go and have the result in their favor as demonstrated in the 2019 presidential election. Lastly, I would like to greet your guests once again that my name is Musa Bala. I'm Abu Said, U89. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, Musa Bala there. All right, I'm still with one or two of your calls, so we can come back to our guests, to round off the program. The program is Perspectives, a special one, and Steven Aluko Daniel, my guest on the program. We're talking about Nigeria 61 and what we can do collectively to move the country forward. It's not about really regions or religion or ethnic divides. It's talking about we as a people. And the president in his broadcast this morning had, hammered on that. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Alabi.
Yes.
And happy new month. You are on to Engineer Emmanuel.
Okay, Engineer Emmanuel.
Yeah, you see, the only way, now if we are talking about to unite ourselves,
I think leadership by example. Let Mr. President start in the way that he will carry everybody along, as he took an oath of office that he belongs to nobody, he belongs to all. Then we do not see that playing out. And now he comes out and tells us that we should unite ourselves. You leadership by example, Mr. Alabi. Now, look at, because I always look at emphasis on appointment of a thing. Where is the federal character? If you say we are one, and you prefer one region to be in a position, and you to be in that position, how can we unite ourselves? Now, the former president, the military president, say what I've been emphasizing on: equity, fairness, justice for all. If there is fairness, equity, and justice, all this agitation will not be in place. Now we are celebrating 61 years, Mr. Toyin Alabi. The way we are today is not acceptable. This is not where we ought to be with the all God-given wealth in this country. Country that begins with us, they have gone far because the leaders have that country at heart. Our founding fathers lay a very good foundation, but today what is playing out? Your guests just make a very important message. It is the common man that kills themselves. Why those elites are the ones putting the fire and they are there taking off? So please, let the leaders, when they are saying something, let them practicalize it so that we know they are saying and they are doing.
Okay.
Not coming to tell us that we should unite and they are doing different things.
Okay.
Now, concerning the insecurity of a thing, the Mr. President should hit his chest and tell us the promise he made to Nigeria in 2015 till date. Has he fulfilled it?
Okay.
He told us we will not buy fuel. The amount we are buying it. Today, how much are we buying fuel? Cooking gas is how much? Food commodities are how much? Thank God he made a remark that 18 months he knows that people have been suffering. Thank God that has come to his awareness. Yeah, this country has never suffered the way they are suffering today.
Okay, Engineer Emmanuel. All right, we got you on that. Okay. Let me just come back to our guest. Your last line here. This conversation will continue. Will continue from there. But Aluko Daniels, your last line here.
Hello?
Yes, let's get you. Your last line.
Yes, please can you just sum it up because our telecommunication is also very.
Yes, okay, I know that. Musa Bala was on the line and he talked about.
Yes.
Yes, Musa Bala was on the line and he talked about the North, that should certainly not be seen as the backward region here. That the North has accommodated people from the South, education, and they've gone back to their states to develop the area. And that, like the president, we should all be working together as one people. Engineer Emmanuel has talked about the federal character that is not reflected, even as this government wants, to unify us, and all of that. But the federal character not reflected. Equity, justice must all be put on the table. These are some concerns here.
Okay, I appreciate. Can you talk about unity when you play politics of exclusion with our country? Can you play politics when you don't respect rule of law? Can you claim unity when you don't respect rule of law? Can you play progressive politics and promote your unity when there's no sense of inclusion? I'm very happy the governor of Kaduna came out recently and said, look, we jump to start the prefer quota system and cut-off marks for the North that is encouraging lazy students and the rest of it. And I think if you scale it up, it also provides for able political leadership. I can tell you that if we allow power as expected to go round on its merit, not on its merit, on competence, not what is not competent, we will not have this problem of disunity. And then secondly, if you go to the speech credited to Gowon after the Civil War, no winner, no vanquish. If we promote that mentality and ideology, it will go a long way. And what was the concept of that? The issue of reconciliation, resettlement, and reintegration. As we speak today, the population of Northern Army, that is in Chad, in Niger, and other neighboring countries, they are over 300 and something thousand. And in different states within Nigeria, especially in the north, we have colony of internally displaced persons that have not been resettled for a very long time. And what do you expect? Look at the recent report from the Northeast that in IDP camp 18,000 children were given back to in IDP camp. That means those children are already dislocated emotionally and psychologically. And if there's not taken, this is a factor increment ground for more evil and wickedness in the future. So the president should take the lead. That was not what he promised in 2016. What he promised is that he's going to bring everybody on board and make sure everybody is part of the government. Has he done that? My answer is no. He has not done it. And APC that promised local government autonomy, have they done it? No. They promised they are going to give us a transparent electoral regime. Have they done that? If you don't have electoral justice that will guarantee the right profiling of people, you cannot get unity. So, and I think the president must take the lead. I must also hold governors accountable to the rest. And you must also hold the governors, must also hold the local government accountable. Look at what happened in Gombe State recently. A sitting governor set up a committee to recommend people for a vacancy in a traditional seat. And they made that recommendation, and at the end, what did they have? They went and picked somebody that was not qualified and the rest of it. These are the issues. So it's not just for governor or president to come out with stronger unity. You must bring the concept of fairness, equity, and justice to play. So that at the end of the day, everybody knows that I am fairly represented, I am fairly heard, and there is justice in what government is doing. And when we talk about justice, it's a three-way thing. Justice to Nigeria, justice to the victim, and justice against the aggressor. We cannot continue to celebrate evil and say we are promoting unity. That's not how unity was promoted. Before we got to this point, how was unity promoted? Healthy competition. That's why we have Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria and not in Sokoto or in Bauchi, where the premier and the prime minister came from. That is why we have Obafemi Awolowo in Osun State, in Ife, not in the state where Awolowo came from. That's why we have it in the east, in Yosuka, not where he came out from. So what is the issue? You look at the priority. What is the need of the people? Where can we locate this to serve the people and serve Nigeria? We must promote leadership of patriotism. We must promote leadership that promotes nationality and reward it. Not leadership that carrying his feet all about.
Okay, Steven Aluko. A time is up the ceiling.
At a hero.
Our time is up the ceiling, Aluko Daniel. I'd like to thank you so very much for coming on the program this morning. Nigeria at 61. We thank you for your contributions and way forward for Nigeria. Thank you.
My pleasure always. Thank you.
Yes, and that has been a special edition of the program Perspectives. Looked at Nigeria at 61. My guest this morning, Steve Aluko Daniel, Director of Civil Liberties Organization, Resource and Development Consultant at DAXT Consult, a foremost human rights and pro-democracy and gender environmental activist. He was a delegate at 2014 Confab, a former president, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and former National Association of Nigerian Students leader. He's a journalist, a public administrator, and an analyst. He's been my guest on the program this morning. We'll come back with more of Nigeria at 61. But before then, let me just say, Gilead, thank you for connecting me with the people. And Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. Nigeria, happy celebrations, and hoping and praying for the best for Nigeria in the years ahead. Good morning.